All right, guys. So I'm gonna have a little fun today. I'm gonna get back into this X-Men 1991, right? And already, like this series already brings back like a lot of nostalgia for me. Like this is a great time. So 91 comic books, man. So I'm gonna really dig this. So let's go through this episode here. I mean, this is already a cold-blooded lineup. Like I love like Gambit. It is to me my X-Men, and it already has like a very like dramatic kind of feel to it. It starts off real grimy right off the bat. This is an important part. Like, this is that dude who was really against the X-Men, the guy who was behind, the Sentinels, obviously getting arrested. Like, so this is like a very chaotic time when the X-Men was really going through it with identity culture. Like, their identity culture was always on the line here. You could see, like, this starts off with like Jubilee, like, you see they got the mutant monitors on. So like this is at a time, man, like this is some crazy stuff because this was heavily about like identity. I mean, they made the heavy link to what they saw during the Holocaust. I would assume this stuff is very relatable, like chattel slavery. But this is kind of what they were focusing on with these characters already, man. So it's already at a very powerful, like a very powerful point. Oh, this is Acosta. This is man, I was tripping off who this was. This is Sunspot, right? Like that's another interesting character too, man. Like in this whole thing, like Sunspot, obviously, like he carries a lot of the racial story. He's Brazilian and he's affluent family, but he's got dark skin, so that always creates this conflict for him. I didn't really get too into the character because again, this wasn't like a direct reflection of me, but it's definitely a melanin character. This is definitely a melanated character story right here, though. Man, this is a crazy thing because, like, man, how do they figure out how to cut off your mutant powers? How do they have something they can collar you with and it cuts off your powers? Someone's going to have to give me the explanation for this one, right? Like, I need to understand what they mean that they can cut your powers off, right? And just like now they can manhandle you. Like, so what's this? And everybody has one. Everybody has some type of like power restraint thing that's universal for everybody's powers. And I always thought that was a kind of a BS cop out, man. Just really being honest with you. And it's crazy because I'm watching, Sunspot, who I guess this is why I didn't like this guy. Because what he says in this scenario right here is, I'm not like the other mutants. I'm one of the good guys, man. I'm one of the good ones, man. And I mean, like, that's really a sellout to all your mutant family. We're not gonna go into any like the social means of people who do stuff like that, but like that's a huge one right there, man. Yeah, subtle moment, man. This is a hype moment. You can see, like, if you could see, like, subtly, like the weather's hitting. So we know Storm's about to bust in. This is like an epic scene, coming up when she lands in. Like everybody got these weapons. They're weaponing up, and this is kind of the humans really getting to this war against the mutants right here. There's a part that comes in right here where she uses the command of her voice, which is something I don't think we see, a lot out of Storm after this time period, after 91. Like, she brought something with it, almost like a vibrational type ability that she was bringing along with the storm wielding ability as well. But like a great entrance, this really sets the tone. Like, again, this is the first episode of this 91 series. This is how they introduced Storm. I think it was a great intro on this character. Yeah, and obviously then they come right in with Bishop. So like they're really getting right into the heart of the story. Again, Bishop is one of my favorite characters in X-Men. I was kind of late kind of coming to this dude, but definitely like, and that combo with him and Storm, that bond right there is just epic. Again, this is 1991 we're talking about here. Look at that, man. They took that out. Like, these humans were equipped enough that they took down Bishop and Storm, right? Remember, Storm is an Omega level mutant. How do we even quantify this? How do we quantify Storm, an Omega level mutant, along with Bishop, going down to some armed humans? I'm not sure how that happens. And then, like, okay, so the intro on Cyclops, like a dude I increasingly every year since the time I first started picking up comic books, man, I increasingly have more respect for Scott as a leader, as a dude, right? Like, so this is an appropriate way for him to bust into the room, just like kaboom, right, and establishing himself like right off the bat, right. Man, this is Scott on full display, man. Like, Scott was a bad dude. Scott was a bad dude. I think in terms of like Scott's fighting ability, I'm like he definitely was. Man, man, I kind of want to put him on Dick Grayson fight abilities. I can't quite do that. But Scott's a badder dude. Like, even though he doesn't have enhanced strength, he's a bad dude. Scott's a dude I got a lot of respect for. Then obviously this story is locking right in on the Sentinel, so we getting right into like what we're doing, why these humans are such a menace right here at this point. I mean, but wow, man, these humans really gotta say, man, we didn't take down 3 mutants already, man. We got 1 mutant already tied up, and we just took down 3 mutants, especially after that dude 9 was talking about how nice Scott was. Like, I'm saying this is an impressive group of humans, the way they're just handling these X-Men who just running through the door, expecting no resistance. Man, for a while, like during this period of time, I really struggled with, I still kind of struggle with Gambit, man, as a character. Like, times I think Gambit's cool. Most of the time I think as a character, he's just kind of a ridiculous character to me, right? I'm just gonna be really honest with you, but so I've always kind of struggled with this guy. But it's good to see him. They got him in the kitchen at the cooking, giving Scott a hard time. Like, he's just a hard dude to deal with as far as I'm concerned, right? So this is a dynamic I never really liked as a character. And again, they bring in Rogue exactly as she should be done. Okay, exactly how Rogue should be represented. Like, this is one of the best representations of her I think that we've ever seen, especially post Anna Paquin. Right, so I'm just saying, like, that's quintessential Rogue right there. That's who Rogue is, right? Like, living in the South, like, now I understand this Rogue character a little bit more, even after all this time. And like, that's kind of who she was. Like, that was that rogue energy right there. Now, this was a member of the team. And this detracts from the comic because this is obviously Mimic. This is post Professor X is gone or dead. I don't know how they write it out in this one. They think he's dead, but I think he's just gone. And this is Mimic, and this is a dude that was really important in the early X-Men, the comic books, and they kind of brought him back. But it's always kind of been a weird character. You know what I'm saying? But like the way he rose, and this is his intro into this too, kind of showing off what his skills are right off the bat. And again, another character that's a little bit harder to take, right? A little bit harder in personality, but like if you think about the skill set here, we've got a very talented like. And Mimic, man, like I would stay looking like somebody else all the time. I would never walk around looking like this, man. I would never walk around looking like this if you could take on another face. Just pick anybody's face, man. Michael J. Fox. It don't matter. It really don't matter. Just take on someone else's face. And then we get a pregnant Jean, right? Like, this is where the story's at right now. We get a pregnant Jean. And obviously this is taking us down like a very different route. So this X-Men that we're getting right now, we're starting to see that evolution. They're really settling into some roles, like some long-term relationships. And of course, Scott and Jean like kind of exemplify who they are, right? Okay, so this is when Sunspot, wakes up, and of course, this is the intro into Hank, right? Okay, here's the thing with Hank. Like, as highly intelligent as Hank is, why is it you always put people through these very awkward like introductions, right? Why can't you have it where maybe you'd be smart enough to say, okay, waking up in a new environment and seeing somebody who looks more like a human, not to say it's wrong to look like what you do look like, but why are we putting this extra strain on the beginning of this relationship, right? Like, let's be really honest. The reception is a whole lot different if it's Rogue, right? The reception is a whole lot different if it's Jean. If it's Jean, you're like, okay, why is this pregnant woman got me here? You're probably not going to be on his guard. But if I see this blue wolf-looking monster, whatever, with like unkept nails, right? Wearing a lab coat, where did you get this size at? Where did you get this size of lab coat at? But okay, we'll get back to that. But why, if you're all intelligence, why are you not just allowing this person just to get into this situation comfortably? And then this introduction into Jubilee, and like Jubilee, man, she marks a very interesting era for the X-Men. Like, I felt like this was again, culturally being a lot more open, like, making sure that the X-Men stay young. Because again, like, we start off with all the X-Men being so young. By this time, like, Scott and them guys, Wolverine ain't young no more. Storm ain't really young. I mean, relative. But this is like that real youth. And that's always kind of been the power of the X-Men, is like, you got to take on these kids. That's what makes them actually more youthful and more dynamic was that component of it. And Jubilee, like, she represents a big, huge part of it. So this is her and Sunspot are kind of representing that new generation. Like, this would go obviously into being like the New Mutants. Like, for the comics that I read, the New Mutants was what branched out of this. I just want everybody to notice, like, at this point, like, how dark Storm is at this point. Like, let's look at Storm's skin tone. And, like, you notice ever since this point, Storm's been getting lighter and lighter every single year since this point. Yes, she has the blue eyes. Yes, she has the white hair. But Storm was always a dark-skinned woman. Let's not start forgetting that as we progress, further away. 91, we see how dark Storm was here in this representation. That's what I grew up with. That's the Storm I knew. Okay, and again, like, another great intro. This is the first on screen for Magneto, right? Who obviously Magneto always does his thing, right? So yeah, I'm definitely into seeing, most representations of this dude right here. And Magneto, like, what he represents to the storyline is always, let's see what kind of Magneto we got here. Come on.
It like you does.
At least say there's something to do around here besides listen to Mozart.
Hear me. Humanity's days are...
That's a cold-blooded intro right there, man. That's a worthy intro for this dude. That's exactly how I would expect you to come on the scene, right? Like, in this intro, man, like, they write Magneto where he's just laying it out there. We are nature's favorite children. This is the core. So if this is the intro into the series that you're getting from Magneto, he's laying it exactly out for you. He does not back off of this position. Like, he's down with it, right? So yeah. So, like, you see where he's going with it at. He's very, like, dramatic about it. Very, like, almost poetic about it.
Video games are for nerds.
Oh, it's no games, buddy.
So this is it. Like, so this is where Magneto is as an intro. So this is actually like the intro into the Danger Room, which is crazy, like how they came about, how realistic the Danger Room is. So they got him in the Danger Room, and like now he's having to face, kind of getting a dose of what it really looks like.
Seriously, girl, get a life. Oh, so scary, Jubilee.
Okay, so obviously we got the introduction into Wolverine. Like, all this, or, this is just inside the Danger Room, but they're trying to get him to bring his powers out.
Scary enough for...
Yeah, so this, again, man, like, why would the X-Men allow Wolverine to bring around any kids that you're trying to bring in here? You're scaring the shit out of this kid right now. Like, this is funny to Logan, right? We're outside of Danger. I'm letting you know this is real. This is not, nice building, but you see a couple people here got some screws loose, man. I like Logan too, but he shouldn't be there as part of the recruitment pitch. Like, in no way, shape, or form. That's highly irresponsible. Man, this is a nice shout out to the OG team: Iceman, Angel, Beast, Marvel Girl, and Scott. Like, that's a shout out to the old team right there. That's a very cool feature here. This is a cold scene right here, man. They get attacked mid-air by the Sentinel, right? You're going to see this, right? It's a cold-blooded scene, man. There's something that Morph does. And I'm like, this is where Morph really has, like, real value. I know he died somehow, but I can't remember how Morph dies. But let's trip into the scene a little bit, right? So you get up, a Sentinel, right? Scott obviously takes the head right off. We're in good position. He's kind of destroyed, but the plane's going down now, right? Now check out. All right, so they sucked out. We see his problems for a couple of people here, but we got enough people who could fly. It's not a real issue, right? After the initial explosion, so obviously Rogue's cool. Obviously Storm's gonna be. They're kind of looking at each other like, yeah, it's not. I'm not even worried about it. Right, so they immediately get into flight mode. Then Morph, you see right here, Morph changes into Angel, like Archangel, right? Which obviously you get his wings. Like, that's dope right there. I hadn't really thought much of Morph, but yeah, that's a cold-blooded scene right there that Morph takes on that form. Look, we gotta watch this. They're falling. Look at what Scott does. This is an incredible use of his powers. I'm telling you, I didn't expect this from this dude, right? Like, watch what he does. So he's falling, right, in free fall. lights up his eye beams, his concussive beams, right? So he just blasting concussion beams. You can see this is a good shot. Him falling from the sky, right? All the way down, right? Using his beams, right? Riding it on down, right? And just like the landing on this one, man. I'm telling you, this is epic right here, man. Look, this is just epic. All the destruction, right? Like, yeah, okay, it's stormy out here, right? All the destruction. But look at it, man. Bam! That's a landing right there, man. That's Scott Summers right there. Like flexing it to the highest levels. This is like them kind of stretching out what he could do, like how this guy utilizes his ability, like how he is as a leader, right? And then he's like,
To me, my X-Men.
wow, that like put the stamp on like a special moment. Him like man, this is who this guy is right here, man. This was an epic moment in this series for him to establish himself this way. Yeah, their eternal enemy, man, like the Sentinels. So this is obviously getting right in the heart. After this is Trask, right? This is Trask who's leading them at this point, but like right back into the heart of what their most their major conflict has always been. Yeah, this is absolutely a flex moment by Storm. Like Storm's on the scene, and the Sentinels have already recognized her as an Omega level threat. Like as soon as she steps out, they call it Omega level threat. Some hatred, right? Like she's mad poetic during this, and this is just the power. Like, yeah, it was a little bit of a tussle until Storm steps on the scene. Like you could just see, man, there must be a dozen Sentinels somewhere in the scene, right, in total, and just destroying them all, right? While everybody else just sits back and watches. He just tore apart a small army of Sentinels. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, you could have directed him someplace else, but that's as ice as it gets right there, man. Like this right here. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't get the top one. Oh no, this is gonna be a problem here. Oh no, I'm worried about this one now. Master Molo. This is who Master Molo is. I feel like this is gonna be a problem right here. Oh man, come on. We got the Wolverine Gambit team up here, right? The charged up adamantium claws with the force oh man, the bounce off of the belly. Wow, that was some execution right there, man. The vaunted Gambit Wolverine double team, which like, yeah, there it is. That's the result, man. That's the results. That Sentinel had time enough to stand up and talk trash for a second, and then your head was off. Thanks to Gambit and Wolverine team up, man. This is this is why I never mess with Sunspot, right? Like this is where he's gonna get into his powers right here. He's finally gonna show his power because he hasn't shown his power. And this is kind of an interesting thing. And I remember my homie kind of not being cool with this character back in the day, right?
A family that accepts you. Sounds nice.
This is why his family wouldn't accept him, even in his own world, right, where he comes from. Because your power, you got to turn absolutely black. Remember this Sunspot. So like the skin tone was the biggest problem that he had with accepting his powers. We got to remember that about this character here. So it ends this episode with Magneto coming back to take over the school. So overall, like it's kind of a thrill ride. Like I've watched this series a couple times, but it's so revealing about like core. There's some core X-Men stuff that goes on in the series. I don't know if this thing's available anywhere. I picked it up on the Super Box. I'm sure you can find it out there online. I'll see if I can find where it's available. But it's a great series to get into.
His school. Everything